my love was television news. So I would sit down and read the news with the anchors when I was growing up watching Memphis television news. My degree, first degree, is a Bachelor of Science in Communications with an emphasis in News and Public Affairs. So I have that from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. And everything I did throughout UT, working at the radio station, being an assignment editor, being the news director of the radio station, was all geared toward being an anchor and a reporter. But as I started working at a station in Knoxville, I started filling in on the weather. And the more I did it, the more I thought this is what I would like to do. Then I found out how much money the main weather guy was making. And I thought, yeah, this is what I want to do. But I also thought if I'm going to do it, I need to have a better idea, a better background of what I'm doing. So I went back to school and did a broadcast meteorology program through Mississippi State. Mississippi State has a fantastic program. They've got a great on-campus program, but they've got a great program set up for people like me who are already out of college in the workforce and wanted to learn more about meteorology. So I did their broadcast meteorology program that I finished a few years ago, and that has been a great help for me. So yeah, the love for weather goes back to middle school as a hobby. The cool thing now is they pay me to talk about the weather. The classroom experience was great because that taught you the basics, that taught you the fundamentals. It taught you about how to write for broadcast and what's different in writing for broadcast versus writing for the newspaper. Now, the world has changed a whole lot when you throw in social media, but the fundamentals of writing is what I got. The fundamentals, too, of using the video equipment and being able to edit to video. That was all important, but what was great, and I tell folks, if you're in college, you got to make sure you do this, is you've got to get the experience outside of the classroom. The classroom experience, again, is fantastic, and that lays down that foundation. But to add on that foundation, you need the extra experience. And for me, UT had a radio station, and I started from the bottom. I became a reporter and an anchor at the radio station, worked my way up to being assignment editor, and then worked my way up to being news director of that radio station. So that gave me almost daily experience as far as writing the news for broadcast and then delivering it. Even though it was for radio, it was still delivering a live news product, and that was a great experience. Now, on top of that, what also helped me were my internships, or what they were called at UT practicums. That allowed me to get real-world newsroom experience. And for me, I actually did them at 2 TV stations. I did them at the number 3 station, and I did them at the number 2 station because I wanted to see what was different in a station that was very competitive versus one that didn't have a lot of ratings or viewers, to see what they did that were similar and also what they did that was very different. And both of those, I think, provided a great experience for me during my time at UT. And I tell students today, if you're coming out to do work in this field, make sure that you get some real-world experience by working at a campus radio station, if possible, but also greatly adding to that with an internship at a station in town. I think it's very important for a journalist to know several different aspects of the field. Now, when you get to a point in your career where I am at, you want to make sure that it's narrowed down so that you can become a master of that one area. But in the very beginning, news directors are looking for people who can be very versatile. And so you need to know a little bit about, well, if you want to be a reporter, you need to know a whole lot about reporting, at least as the classroom experience will allow at that particular point. But you need to know a bit, too, about the camera end. What happens behind the camera? What happens as far as editing a story? You need that experience in several different areas to make you someone that you can use, that a potential employer, a news director, will want to take a chance on. But having several different areas of experience can be great tool for you when you're out there trying to get that first job, especially when you're competing with so many different people. This is, especially those first couple of years, it's a very popular field for people to go into, but getting that first job can be the challenge. And what you've got to do coming out of college is to sell yourself. And the way you sell yourself is not just with the classroom experience, but being able to show on the resume and on the resume tape that you know a little bit about this, a little bit about that. Again, you want to hone those skills down the line so that you can be great in one area, but in the very beginning, having a background in different areas can be a selling point for a potential news director, especially when their budget, their money supply is small. There has been a great deal of change. My 20th anniversary is this year. I came in to be the meteorologist for all of our weekend newscast, weekend evening, weekend morning. So I was at that time the third person of a three-person team. One of the ways that we've changed in that time is we are now a four-person team. And so I do weekday mornings. Ron House, still the chief meteorologist. And instead of having one person do every newscast on the weekend, we split it up. So we've got a person for weekend mornings and a person for weekend evenings. For me, where things have also changed is where our newscasts are at. When I came to News Channel 5, part of our slogan was morning news, 6 a.m., 7 days a week. On the weekends, we're still on at 6 a.m. During the week, we've moved that up from 6 a.m. It went to 5:30. It went to 5. It went to 4:30. And now, wow, we're on at 4 o'clock in the morning. So my day starts at 2 a.m. And even before we're on the air at 4 a.m. with News Channel 5 this morning, we record news and weather updates for area gas stations around town 4 times a day. The first time we do that is at 3:50. So the amount of information that we're giving has changed. From a technology standpoint, that has greatly changed, and part of that can be tied to computers. And you know how sometimes you can buy a computer and maybe a half year or a year later there's a new, better and greater thing on the market. Well, when that computer technology gets better and greater, we can use that better computing technology here in the Weather Center. So we've gone from being able to just show you the rain on radar to being able to say, here's the storm on 5th Street and 5th and Rosa Parks. And down the line, those of you on Granny White, look out. This storm is coming your way. If you're in Hermitage, if you're in Mount Juliet, if you're in Lebanon, this storm is on the way. So we've gone from being able to have warnings just for an entire county to being able to pinpoint those warnings for a specific part of the county. So the computing technology has come a long way, and that has helped us out in not only being able to give you better forecasts, but also even showcasing what we're able to do through the weather graphics, through 3D technology. That has helped us out a long way as well. The other thing that has changed is the social media aspect. When I joined News Channel 5 and the News Channel 5 network, my job was to do weather. We weren't even the network then. It was just News Channel 5. My job was to do weather for News Channel 5. My job is to now do weather for the News Channel 5 network. That includes News Channel 5 this morning and being a co-host of Talk of the Town. Every morning I send out an email to thousands of people who are getting a personal weather forecast from me in their inbox on the weather for that day. I provide weather on newschannel5.com, so I give weather there. I provide weather on News Channel 5 Plus, so I'm providing a weather forecast as well as there too. I do weather for 2 radio stations. If you're in your car and you listen to 103 WKDF or 104.5 The Zone, you'll hear forecasts from me or from one of my colleagues here. Then there's the social media aspect. Right now, I've got about 2,500 folks who follow me on Twitter. I've got over 13,000 who follow me on Facebook, so I'm delivering weather there as well. So there is a wealth of sources for people to go now to get weather information. And while News Channel 5 is still the bread and butter, that's where we make the most money, which we need to pay me and to pay everybody here at the station. Those other sources are important too, because if we're not available on those other sources, then people will go somewhere else to get that information.